Hello everyone, welcome to the webinar. Can everyone hear me okay? Can you type in the chat box if you can hear me? That'd be great. Okay, while we have more people joining, can you guys hear me? Just wanted to check. Yeah, you need to leave earlier. Anyone who needs to leave earlier, that's fine for sure. Gotta manage your schedule. Okay, well, I assume that everyone can hear me. If not, please let me know via chat box. And with that being said, we'll proceed. So thanks for joining this webinar today. The topic of the webinar is how to reduce the devastating impact of trade wars and tariffs. The last thing we want is to if your business to be a victim of the trade wars. So we will be talking about business diversification, about diversifying both your supply chain and export markets, because that's the way for you to reduce the damage of those. By the way, is there anyone who already feels the impact of the trade wars and tariff? Has your business been impacted? I don't think you can answer, but you can type in your answer in a chat box for everyone's sake. Okay, let's just wait for a couple of more minutes, and while we're waiting for some more participants, maybe one of you can share their story via chat box. Okay. Right, let's move on. And let me tell you just a couple of words about my role, because I know some of you may know me as from a little bit different angle. Working on we probably met each other um, in a little bit different instance, because I also own the professional writing firm, but that's a completely different story, and I'm representing here my knowledge and expertise in export import, because I started trading internationally in 2003. Back then I was helping my father with his international trading business, and that's where I kind of learned everything on the fly on how to get the quotes, how to negotiate, how to do the customs clearance. It was fun. But then the funny thing was in 2009 when I came to Canada and realized that people in Canada ask the same questions as people back home, and they ask for things such as how do the customs clearance, how do I get the quote from somebody in the country I have never been to, and how can I trust their products? How can I diversify my sales, and how what should I know about the tariffs and trade restrictions, certification requirements in other countries? And so I noticed that people all over the world ask me the same questions. So that's how my export-import consulting practice came about, pretty much. I'm running Win Global since 2009. It's headquartered here in Canada, in Toronto area. And since then also got the recognition from FITT, that's the Canadian uh, uh, certifying organization for international trade professionals. But enough things about me. So let's talk about you. And this webinar is designed for you and will be the right place for you if your business already has been hit by the tariffs or sanctions or any other acts of trade war. This place is right for if you are afraid that your business may be the next. So maybe your business is not has nothing to do with steel, aluminum, or softwood lumber, but you never know what will be the next industry, the next on the tariff list. You also know that you have to diversify your export markets and supply chains, but you have no idea what to do and where to start with. So this webinar will give you the step-by-step guidelines on what you should do to put your diversification strategy together. And you finally, it's the right place for you if you have clients in this situation. I know a couple of registered attendees represent financial institutions, for example, and they're here on behalf of their clients to find out how their clients can diversify their markets. Okay. Excuse me. Now, during the webinar, we're going to discover practical steps that you need to take to develop international business diversification strategy. We'll also find out how to use practical tools that will contribute critical information to your strategy. And I'm not going to just give you the tool names. I will actually demonstrate these tools in action in order for you to be able to use those tools on your own. And you will also discover the actual to-do list with some options, cost savings options, recovery options, and funding options that you can use immediately. And by doing so, either optimize or cut costs of your export and import if you're already importing and exporting. So as far as our agenda, we'll start with supply chain diversification strategy and export market diversification strategy. I'll then give you those tools. I will demonstrate you some of those tools that are necessary to make the strategic decision and identify the new sources for your supplies in new export markets for your products. We'll then talk about some steps uh, for finding foreign buyers or suppliers. Um, and just a heads up, Google is not the right and is not the best tool for finding foreign buyers or foreign suppliers. And then we'll talk about recovery options and those cost savings options that you can implement immediately and either recover some money that you already spent or finance future activities, especially market development activities. And then we'll talk about your next steps. We'll let you know what you should do after the webinar is completed. Okay. By the way, if there are any questions, please type in your questions via chat box. We most likely have some time in the end. We'll spend the last, say, 10 minutes looking into your questions and answering them. So by all means, don't hold your questions until the very end, and then we'll address them. So let's talk first of all about the supply chain diversification strategy. There is something that you need to know before you can put it together. First of all, you need to identify your three top supplies. Those products that contribute to your production or the delivery of your services. That may be also the case for some of the participants. Then you determine your annual demand in both dollars and units of measure, say tons, kilograms, whatever measure is applicable to you. Then you determine the countries of origin of those supplies. Now, I know it's not always possible to do that, so we suggest to talk to your suppliers. Ask them; they should know. You don't necessarily buy directly from the overseas suppliers. I understand that. But your Canadian suppliers should be able to tell you at least the country of origin. Don't ask them for the contacts of their suppliers because then they're never going to give them to you. But at least but at least they can give you the idea of the country of origin. Then determine the duties that you pay for your supplies. Once again, um, even if you buy your supplies from a Canadian company, it doesn't mean that you don't pay the duty. The duty may be included in the cost, in their price that the Canadian suppliers quote you. So now, assuming that you've collected all this information, your next step is to apply trade data tools that I'm going to show you in a few minutes. What those tools give you is they give you the visibility of the alternative alternative countries of origin from which you can source the same product. Okay, so they will give you that visibility. And let's say if you are importing most of your supplies from the United States, if this is the country of origin, then those trade data visualization tools, they will give you the alternative countries that produce the same product, and furthermore, those markets that supplied similar products to Canada. So there's somebody else in Canada that gets the products from those alternative markets already. Then what you do is you calculate estimated unit price in the country of origin. Those trade data tools will also provide you with that intelligence. You determine the feasibility of sourcing from the alternative country of origin, and then make the strategic decision. And speaking of the feasibility, not only you should consider the total landed cost, so-called, because you have to add the transportation, you have to add maybe inspection and some other costs, maybe duties as well. You also should consider such things as the capabilities of your future supplier to supply enough goods, because the last thing you want is to end up with no supplies at all. That's the last thing you want. You should also consider the quality of the supplies. Well, steel produced in, say, United States may not necessarily be uh, sorry, let me put it the other way around. The steel that is produced, say, outside North America, may not necessarily be of the quality that you expect. So you should give that thought as well and consider the quality when determining feasibility of sourcing from the alternative country of origin. And then, assuming that it's done, you make the strategic decision. Basically, you make three types of decisions. So either you switch to the alternative country of origin, alternative supply, or not. So those are two extremes. Also, what you may choose is something in between. You may choose to diversify your supply chain and supply some of and buy some of your supplies in the alternative markets, but the majority of your supply may still come from your existing markets, whether it's US or Canada, or maybe some other markets. Okay. Yeah, hope that makes sense. Again, if there's any questions, please let me know via chat box. And then let's proceed with the export market diversification. Export market diversification is not as a straightforward process, and the only reason why is that it usually takes more time to diversify your export markets versus your supply chain. You can diversify your supply chain within, well, depending on the product, but within 1 to 6 months, whereas export market diversification will take more time, more effort, and it will cost you more to develop the export markets. So first of all, what you should determine is your motivation. So why is it that you are developing in your export market, diversifying your export markets? And there could be a few reasons why. Well, first of all, you may identify the audience for your product in the export market. You may want to create additional revenue opportunities. But in the context of our topic today, the one of the reasons that could work for you is you just want an insurance, if you will, against against next move in a trade war. Unfortunately, nobody knows what that move will be. But if you want to safeguard yourself, your business, and protect your business from those moves, then it's a good idea for you to start working on export market diversification as soon as possible. What else you should consider? Defining your global value proposition, and we're going to talk about that in a few minutes. You should profile your ideal foreign buyer. You should know exactly what type of clientele you are targeting in the export markets. And again, we'll show you a couple of ideas how to do that. And then you select the right product for export market. So you may have multiple products, but there is a certain methodology um, for making the decision, making the selection of the right product for export market, because not all of them will fit the export markets and the needs of the consumers there. Next thing you do is you determine your current export markets. Well, maybe you have no export markets, which is not good. You may also have a couple of them. Usually what happens is that most of the Canadian companies sell to the United States, and the United States represent either the single or the largest export market, which again used to be okay until recently, and you pretty much know what the story is. But the United States fortunately are no longer our reliable trading partners. So we're gonna have to uh, look into we're gonna have to look for other trading partners, and the way you do that, um, I'm explaining you right now. So you also determine if there are any duties that your foreign buyers will have to pay for your products in the export markets. And I'm going to show you a couple of tools how you can determine those duties. Once that information is collected, you're using you use the same trade data tools, trade data flow visualization tools to identify top 5 potential export markets. And again, we're going to see how that tool works in just a few moments. You also calculate the estimated unit price in the export market, again, adding transportation, insurance, any other costs that are applicable. And then once that is collected, you determine feasibility of developing new export markets. And again, don't only look into the cost and potential return, also look into the competition, look into what exactly your product can provide to the consumers. Is there any value for the potential consumers to buy your specific product? And make the strategic decision in which countries to target. You may not necessarily want to target 5 new export markets at the same time. On the contrary, I do suggest to focus on maybe 1 or 2 to start with, because this way your budget will be, your expansion budget will be manageable. Otherwise, it will just cost too much for you to to expand into over 5 or more markets at the same time. And as promised, here's a couple of thoughts on a global value proposition, how you can, what can help you to put that together. Global value proposition is essentially the answer to the question why do your foreign clients should buy from you versus any of your competitors, both in Canada, locally or internationally. And the examples of the value proposition usually boil down to, say, certain product advantages. Maybe you have a unique product or unique capability. Perhaps you've identified unique needs of the buyers, and your product addresses their unique needs, right? Or maybe you can provide exceptional guarantee. Maybe your product lasts longer, or maybe you can deliver your goods faster. So those items are extremely important when you're competing on the international market for the international customer. You haven't seen price here because price is important for some products, of course, but it's less important if you are, say, trading value-added goods or manufacture value-added goods. When it comes to profiling your ideal buyers, that's another fundamental that you need to know before venturing to the export markets. You profile them depending on who you sell to. Most of you are in the business-to-business segment, meaning you're selling to other companies. But for example, when speaking of those business-to-business segments, let's say, are you targeting large OEMs or you are targeting small or medium-sized tier 2 suppliers? All right. Are you targeting, say, mining companies directly, or maybe some of their suppliers? So those are the considerations that uh, uh, you should take and when it comes to profiling your ideal customer. And the reason also you profile the ideal customers because you cannot go after every single company or every single customer in the target market. You don't have enough marketing budget for it. So you have to narrow down your target audience as much as you can. And also, the important question, especially when you are venturing to the new export markets, is can you make the product for some other industries? Let's say maybe you were supplying, let's say, aerospace manufacturers, but can you maybe do, say, automotive parts? Yeah, we know some companies do both, so maybe that's your strategy too. And if you sell something that ends up on consumer shelves, it's a good idea to also profile your ideal customer, like who will be the end consumer, because it will also help you to, let's say, identify the right stores in the right location where to put your products. I know some of the participants are from food and beverage industry, so this information, they should also have this information before putting their strategy together. And selection of the right product, that's another important component. Um, Typically, we recommend to choose the product that has the highest margin. Developing export markets costs, and it costs more than developing any of the domestic markets. So the better margin, the higher margin you have on the product, the chances are the higher the chances are for this product to be competitive in the export market, because maybe you will have to sacrifice some of your margin for the opportunity to enter the export market. Adaptability is next important consideration. Um, Not only countries vary by their legal requirements, compliance requirements, certification requirements, but they are also very different from the customer perspective. Your customers outside Canada may be accustomed to, let's say, other units of measure, and you may want to adapt either your product or your product documentation to reflect that. You also should select those products that have some uniqueness. Maybe they address a unique need of your buyers, and also select those products that have established operations. You don't want to venture to the export markets um, with the product that, say, hasn't that is new, basically, right? You don't want to do that just because you don't want any surprises. Okay, and now let's review the tool that one of those tools that I referenced in the beginning of the conversation. So there are in fact two data visualization tools. One of them is the Canadian one, Industry Canada Trade Data Online, and the other one is United Nations Country Database. I personally prefer United Nations Country Database because it's a little bit broader than the Canadian one, and it also shows you the trade flows and some intelligence from pretty much every member of the United Nations, which is every single country. So let me just share my screen, and I'm going to show you how it looks like. Okay, now I guess you can see my screen, and if not, okay, you can. Perfect. So here's how it looks like. So this is the interface of Comtrade database, and what you can do here, you can select the product that, for example, you are supplying. Let's consider this scenario. Let's assume that you are purchasing rolled steel, okay, of this particular type of rolled steel. So what you should do in this database is to put the square together. I already put it here in advance just to illustrate how it works. But basically, there are three sections in this database, in this tool. I don't suggest you to touch any of the first two, but you should adjust the data right here. Usually, it already has the past year, the previous year, but it can be any year. You can go back to 2015 and 16 and so forth. Here in the report, there's column you select Canada, and in partners box you select all. Make sure that it's all, it's not world, because the world will give you just one number. And here in a trade flow, you make sure that you select import. And then right here in this HS commodity code, you start typing your product name, and then it will pop up a bunch of codes and also their descriptions. So, for example, if that's what you are supplying, then its HS code is 720810. Most of you probably already know their HS code. If not, you can use this tool to also to identify the HS code. So then, once all of this data, when all these settings are done, you hit preview button, and here's what you see. So first of all, it's unsorted. So you have to sort it by trade value. That's what we recommend. And here is the interesting insight for you. So apparently, this particular type of steel is actually imported from South Korea, which coincidentally has a free trade agreement with Canada. So this may be a good. This may be consideration, and this is what should really be in your strategy. So you should look into the statistics and figure what are the alternative markets for you. Um, sorry, what are the alternative markets to supply your products? It may be Korea, it may be Mexico, it may be Italy, or it may be United States if nothing is wrong. But again, our goal is to demonstrate how you should diversify your export markets. And to give you, in this tool, it gives you the idea of where other Canadians buy similar products. So if they do that, then there's no reason why you shouldn't do it. It's also a great tool because it shows you the net weight, or units. So what you can do, you can calculate the average price. Then you obviously adjust it. You have to, because those prices are, this trade value represents so-called FOB trade value, meaning that this is how much it costs in the country of origin. So this is how much it costs in Korea. But you always have to adjust, and you have to add later on the cost of transportation, because it's not the same cost to ship from Korea versus from the United States. And then once you have those data, uh, you determine your feasibility. It works exactly the same way on the export side. So the only thing you need is to change the trade flow to export, hit preview button, sort it by trade value. Basically, to realize that 99% of the product goes to the United States, of this particular product goes to the United States, but the database will provide you interesting insight. And see, apparently there are other markets uh, where the Canadians sell this product. China and Pakistan is the example. Now, by adjusting those the criteria, the products, and maybe the year, the partners, you'll be able to get the ideas on what are either the alternative export markets or the alternative supplies. Okay. Another tool I wanted to show you is Tariff Finder. It doesn't unfortunately work for all export markets, but for some of them it does work. So we just what we wanted to do is, let's say we take the same product, coiled iron or steel, yeah, and we either can start typing the product here, or we can just take those 6 digits. So it's 720810, and we select the country of destination. Let's say it's Belgium. And we see some information. Well, apparently the tariff is 0%, but again, depending on the product, maybe different. Okay. So those are a few tools that can definitely contribute to your strategy. The reason, again, the reason why you need this one, the tariff finder, is to determine what is the duty in the country of destination, and this information will help you to determine feasibility. Because if your product costs as much as the one in their country, but there is, let's say, 10% duty on your product, well, it's probably not feasible for you. Maybe you have other product that is not subject to the duty, and you'll have better, you have more chances with that product. Okay, so let's just go back to where we were, and the other possible tool that you can use is Canada Customs Tariff. So they don't have that like fancy interface, but what you can do, you can go into their customs tariff and find the product that you are importing to determine what is the duty rate. However, this document will not have all the updates and amendments, such as the recent tariffs and counter tariffs that Canada and the United States impose on each other's goods. But it will give you the basic tariff, the standard tariff. So now, assuming that your strategy is done and you identified your source, a new alternative source markets, and the new export markets, your next step eventually is to find your buyers or suppliers. And as I mentioned in the beginning, Google is not the right tool for it. And there are a few reasons for that. I'm not going to get there, but we recommend to start looking for your suppliers in buyers in the bilateral chambers of commerce. The organization and the choice depends on what country you're targeting, or what country you're supplying from. So, for example, if your target market is China, maybe Canada-China Business Council will be the good place for you to connect with and try to find the buyers there. Now, also industry association for your target in your target market or source market. If you are supplying coffee, maybe you should get in touch with coffee farmers associations of Brazil to get some reliable contacts. The reason why you do that is because by doing this networking and working with those organizations, you get the contacts of the people that have already been, say, tested. Those aren't new people that just entered the market, and those are it's unlikely that those people will be kind of scammers. You want to work with reliable contacts from the start. So another opportunity for you where you can get the contacts is Canadian Trade Commissioner Service, or the provincial ministries of international trade. Every province has those ministries, and the employees have limited matchmaking capabilities. The other source of the contacts of the mostly suppliers will be foreign trade commissioners or trade promotion organizations. For example, if you're looking for the suppliers in Mexico, Maybe the organization called Pro Mexico, which promotes Mexican business around the world, will be a good idea for you to connect with because they have the contacts of reliable Mexican suppliers that are in their list. And the last option for you will be internet and trade directories and databases. But trust me, it should be your last resort. Only if none of the above works. But I can confidently tell you that either of the above will work for you. So you don't have to rely on Google when looking for your foreign buyers or suppliers. In terms of the opportunities that exist and that are somewhat overlooked, is that there are three types. First of all, cost savings. Um, there you can definitely save cost by if you qualify for customs duty relief. It basically means that you don't have to pay the duty on your product when you import it, which gives you cash flow and also cost savings. There's also frequently overlooked the cost savings opportunities in receivables insurance. There are in fact 5 or 6 companies in Canada that provide that type of insurance where you can insure your invoice to the foreign customer. And if the foreign customer doesn't pay you, you can get 90% of the invoice value. So there are several organizations that have very different and very competitive costs of the insurance service, but it's frequently overlooked opportunity. People don't shop around, and they usually get in touch with only one of them or maybe two of them, but they don't know about anything else. Currency fluctuation hedging, that's another opportunity for you. Typically, if the volume is low, people just go to the bank and exchange the currency in the bank. Now, the banks provide probably the worst exchange rates, and they also don't provide hedging. And hedging is basically the insurance against the currency fluctuation. Um, there are also some inefficiencies, typically in the way how people treat, how companies and people working for the companies treat export and import inquiries. There may be some operational efficiency opportunities. Recovery opportunities is the customs duty drawback. It's the special claim or request form that you can submit to border services agencies and request them to pay the customs duty back. There are certain qualification criteria that you have to pass, and it doesn't work for all the cases, but there is such a possibility. I do suggest you to read about that program, and if you feel you are eligible, by all means apply and get the duty back. There are also several funding programs from federal and provincial governments across Canada. Two federal programs are Can Export and Agri Marketing. So those aren't the subsidies for, let's say, production, but those are subsidies for marketing. So if you want let's say, if you want to go to the trade show outside Canada, you can apply for those programs, and if approved, they provide 50% of your travel and trade show costs back. Now we're coming to the end of the webinar, and I wanted to share with you Donald Trump's quote. What separates the winners from the losers is how a person reacts to each new twist of fate. Well, you may not like Donald Trump as a president, but I'm pretty sure you can appreciate the fact that he's a great businessman, and his business advice is something we probably all should listen very closely. So I don't want us to be losers. I want us to be winners. And if we have that problem, if we have unpredictable trade policies coming from the United States, what we can do to resist and to react to this twist of fate is diversify our supply chains and export markets. I suggest you do that. And from there, there are two options. So you can either develop the diversification strategy yourself, and this presentation, this guide will be good reference information for you. So basically, you follow the steps in the slides that talk about export market and supply chain diversification. Are also we provide such service, and if you feel you need assistance in that, by all means, we'll be more than happy to help you with putting your strategies together. And in fact, we have a bundle offer. So if you order either supply chain or export market differentiation strategy, the exclusive cost for the webinar participants would be 1960. But if you bundle them together, it will be 3480. But we also will look into those recovery opportunities and cost savings opportunities, and we'll provide you with the list of those opportunities. But that offer will only be limited if you put a deposit down until August 7th, so either before August 7th or on August 7th. And I'm going to share with you the link how you can do that. And it will be in a chat bar and also in a follow-up email. But whether or not you choose to do it yourself or you engage us in putting your strategy together, my last ask is to act now. Don't wait until the next wave of tariffs. There, I can't say it's late or it's not. It's never too late, but it's getting late. Again, we never know what's going to be the next move of Mr. Trump and his trade advisors. So it is time to start diversifying your export markets now. And the first step is to put the strategy together. So again, whether with or without us, that's something that there's only one thing that uh, uh, I can tell you as a summary of this webinar. Please do it now. Do it as soon as possible. Right, that concludes our session today, and I appreciate everyone who attended the session. I will be online for next 10 to 15 minutes to answer your questions. And I see the one question is about the webinar replay. Absolutely, yes, webinar replay will be available. I'm recording the webinar right now, and we'll provide the recording later on. Okay. If there are any other questions, again, as I said, I'll stick around for 10 to 15 minutes. So by all means, please let me know if you have any questions. Great question. Why does Canada show up as importer in the United Nations chart? That's funny, actually. I believe that's related to some sort of re-importing. You know, when you kind of buy, say, buy steel in the United States and then sell it back. That's probably why. And yeah, I actually also noticed that. But yeah, definitely helpful website because otherwise, when you say when you have no idea where to uh, buy the same products for your supplies, this website, the United Nations Country Database, can open up your eyes and at least give you some ideas. Yeah, question about the service strategies. Yes, we also work with service industries, develop their strategies and software as well, for example, and services. So yeah, for sure. You're welcome. By the way, speaking of the services, Comtrade also has the services section, so you can look up international trading service statistics as well. It's in the first, yeah, in the section 1. You can choose the product type as service. Interesting question. So the question is about actually wrong marking, right? Okay, I see. Yeah, well, that actually if I understand correctly, so somebody kind of hides the fact that the country of origin is China, right? Well, that kind of well, that reminds me of the crime, So yeah, let me take this question. I can't really name any specific organization. One of them could be Competition Bureau and or Border Services Agency. So if you are aware of the fact that someone imports the product from China and changes the country of origin to the United States, it's kind of illegal. So yeah, probably Border Services Agency have some kind of investigation unit that you can contact. Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Any other questions? I mean, maybe 2-3 more minutes. Yeah, Tony, I'm not familiar with any law, with any provisions to change the law. So yeah, we might, if you want, we may take this offline, and maybe it's better to talk one-on-one and discuss it. And I'll see how is there anything we can do or recommend. Okay, thanks everyone. I suggest we wrap up this session today, and once again, recording will be available. I appreciate your time today, and you have a great afternoon. Thanks.